Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Fake Chats right here on your favorite television station. I am excited to be with you this morning. We have a very special guest that you're not going to want to miss. Stay tuned. Right now, we have a very special movie trailer to play for you right now from Roseanne is America documentary. Check this out.
Would you welcome Roseanne Barr?
Because I'm a housewife. I want to be called domestic goddess.
Oh, say, can you see? Since God has an incredible sense of humor, I was born as an Orthodox Jewish girl in Salt Lake City, Utah, of course. By the dawn's early light. When I was 3, I saw this vision. He said, "You will one day have your own show on TV, and it will be The Roseanne Show." At the twilight's last gleaming. Quickly, I learned in television that the worst thing you can do on a comedy show is write a funny joke. They hate that. For the ramparts we watched. You're going to get killed. And the rockets will. For me, comedy's always been political. So I thought, man, I can give a hell of a speech. And I thought, that's all there is to being president, really.
I will walk right up to Nancy Pelosi and slap her right across the face.
That our flag was still there.
The much anticipated return of Roseanne.
Yep, get this, more than 18 million people tuned in for the sitcom's revival.
My idea was I wanted a Trump hater and a Hillary hater under the same roof, and they were pissed at each other, but they still loved each other.
Look at her ratings. Look at her ratings.
Oh, say does that star-spangled. Open my computer, and there's a picture of Valerie Jarrett and Helena Bonham Carter. They look like two peas in a pod. I assumed at the time she was white, Iranian.
Long story, but I was born in Shiraz, Iran.
I don't look like a black person, and I'm even fairer skinned than some of the Iranian people are.
I was one of the first victims to be taken down by cancel culture.
Breaking news.
ABC has just issued a stunning statement, Wolf, that says the show has been canceled.
They had their smoking gun, they thought, to prove that all Trump voters are racist. They want to strip us of our constitutional republic and the American dream. I'm not going to let them, to my last breath, I'm not going to let them win. And the
Thank you very much.
So it is my honor and privilege at this time to bring up Mr. Joel Gilbert. How are you doing?
Okay, good to be here. I enjoyed the trailer and great to be on your show.
So I'm excited to talk to you today as Roseanne Barr is one of my favorite celebrities. But why did you choose her to create a documentary?
Yeah, we'll point out I am the director and producer of the film. That's the DVD version right there. And Roseanne is a beloved figure. She, had the #1 comedy show in the 90s and was a very, very popular entertainer. She had talk shows, appeared on many talk shows in the 2000s. She ran for president. You might remember in 2012 against Barack Obama, she actually got 50,000 votes. And then her show was revived in 2018. So America really grew up with her. She's kind of this working class goddess, the domestic goddess. And she just has this story that really is very American. She grew up in a small town in Utah from an immigrant family. She struggled growing up. Family didn't have any money. And she became a comedian, went to Hollywood and made it big. So she's just a great American success story. And I met her last fall and had the idea that her story had really not been told as one complete story. Her upbringing, her career in comedy, success in the comedy and television, and how the media went about trying to cancel her because she was a Trump supporter. You might remember in 2018, she played a Trump supporter on her show, and she was a Trump supporter in real life during Trump's first term. And as you saw in the trailer, the media was out to brand all Trump supporters as racist. That was their thing. Democrats are up to that as well. And Roseanne put out a very funny tweet saying that this was during a discussion she was having on Twitter with people in Iran about the Obama-Iran deal. And Valerie Jarrett was an advisor to Obama. So she put out a very funny tweet. She's a comedian. She said, if the Muslim Brotherhood and the Planet of the Apes movie had a baby, it'd be Valerie Jarrett, because Valerie Jarrett was born in Iran. And of course, the media and ABC tried to jump on that and say, oh, well, Roseanne, did you know that Valerie Jarrett was about 10% black? And she said, well, no. And they said, well, you said the Planet of the Apes movie about somebody that was 10% black, so you were trying to be racist. She said, I didn't know she was 10% black. I thought she was Iranian like everybody else. So they unjustly used this cancel culture to cancel her off her show. And she was probably the biggest first high-profile victim of cancel culture. Meanwhile, people on the left, like Whoopi Goldberg, said vile anti-Semitic and racist things. Also, Jesse Jackson said racist things. And they could just apologize and say, oh, I'm sorry. And people would forgive them. But if you were a conservative, you would be canceled and lose your job and your show and your income. So there's a lot of hypocrisy. So I thought to put it all together as one long story. And I think we did a great job in this 90-minute documentary. It's available now on DVD. You can see it on Amazon. You can get it. It's on all the live streaming services like YouTube Movies, Vimeo, Apple TV, Dish Network, Comcast, Cox Cable, Video on Demand on DirecTV. So you can see it everywhere. And of course, as you saw at the end of the trailer, the website is roseanneisamerica.com. You can check out the trailer and link up to where to check out the movie.
So I'm sure there were many, but what would have been a memorable scene for you recording through the documentary?
Well, filming it with Roseanne, you just kind of got to know her a little bit. Turned out I had a lot of common experiences with her, which made it pretty interesting. I think I was able to get her story out in that way. She was from a small town in America, grew up with Holocaust survivors as a Jewish minority. I grew up the same way in East Tennessee in a Jewish family as a minority, very few Jewish people. And also had a Holocaust survivor who'd been in Auschwitz as my Hebrew school teacher. So I think I really connected with Roseanne and really understood her experience coming to Hollywood from Middle America and dealing with all the stresses and biases and racism of Hollywood and having to navigate that. So she's just has so much charisma on camera and carries the entire film. You might have seen some of my other movies. I actually usually appear in my movies. I'm pretty well known for Dreams from My Real Father about Obama, the Trayvon hoax about the Trayvon Martin case and George Zimmerman trial where they used a fake witness. And I appear in most of my movies as kind of an investigator. I take you around the country and go check things out, you know. But when I met Roseanne, I realized the best way to make this film was to get out of the way because she has so much charisma. She's such a great storyteller. I just let her tell her whole story. So I think the film really speaks for itself. We just had the world premiere in Washington, D.C. last month at the National Press Club, and everybody that sees it just wants to see it again. It's so great.
So share with us, I'm sure Roseanne, growing up in a Jewish background, she's a voice for people that are very anti-Semitic during this time.
Well, she grew up, I think, in a Mormon community, and she did say in the film that the Mormons were very nice people and very respectful, and they actually had her and her mother come and speak at different schools growing up. So it was just a minority community in a Mormon atmosphere, And she talks about the differences between the Jewish community and her family and the Mormon people, who are actually very nice, she talks about, and how respectful they were and how different it was from her family. So that's a really interesting story. Her grandmother was from Lithuania, and she tells some very funny stories about her grandmother and all these strange things her grandmother did in an apartment house that they owned. Roseanne talks about being in an accident when she was in high school and having to be in the hospital for a while, then getting out of the hospital, and her family committed her to a mental institution, actually, the Utah State Mental Hospital, for 8 months because she was acting so strangely. So she's been through a lot in her life. She tells the story about how she moved to Denver after having a child out of wedlock and gave up the child for adoption. She moves to Denver and is a waitress. And she's so funny, the customers tell her, you ought to go to the comedy club and do a comedy routine. And that's how she got the idea. So she tells this whole story, how she was in Denver hitting the comedy clubs, and somebody suggested she go to the Comedy Store in Los Angeles to do a set. And she did, and was immediately seen by Johnny Carson's show booker, who booked her on the Johnny Carson show the next week. And, the rest is history. She ended up getting her show, went to #1. It overtook the Bill Cosby show. She's just such a great personality and a warm, authentic person. That's the great thing about Roseanne. She's so authentic. People can relate to her. And it's interesting. She talks about when she ran for president, she was really the first person to combine comedy and politics, stand-up comedy and politics. When you see some of her speeches, which we have some clips of them in the movie, she's very funny talking about politics. So really, she was the first Donald Trump. That's what I told her. She was the first Donald Trump, because when Trump came around, he was also very funny and did little stand-up routines and joked with the audience. And I think Trump really got the idea to run for president from Roseanne, and certainly in the style that he goes about campaigning has a lot of comedy and stand-up comedy in it.
One thing that people remember Roseanne as, and you got it in the film, is when she went and sang the Star Spangled Banner at the game. Will you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, when her show was #1, her show was owned by Tom Warner, who also owned the San Diego Padres baseball team. So I think it was 1991. They invited Roseanne to sing the Star Spangled Banner at the San Diego Padres game on Working Women's Night. So she thought she was a great singer. Now, not a lot of people agreed, but that's what she thought. And she practiced it quite a bit. She actually went on the Johnny Carson show. We have that clip in the film right before going to sing the Star Spangled Banner at the Padres game. And she told Johnny Carson, I'm going to sing the Star Spangled Banner. And Carson said, "Oh my God, that's a very difficult song. You got to start low. Don't start too high. You got to start low. It's a very difficult song." So Carson actually told her that right on the air. And she went to San Diego, and they call her out, and everybody cheers for her. And unfortunately, she started singing the song too high. Oh, say can't. And when you start too high, you can't really recover. So she started singing too high, and the whole thing was a disaster. People started booing, and she was just trying to get through it. And she got booed pretty much, and condemned after that as trying to make being disrespectful by George Bush, President Bush at the time. And others kind of lampooned her that she was being disrespectful, but really she just started out too high. She's not a professional singer. And as you saw from the clip in the movie, on the trailer that we showed, she's actually not a bad singer. You saw her singing at a Little League baseball game in Hawaii, that clip that you see in the trailer, and she actually can sing it quite well. So that's the story. But it is a big part of American history and Americana and baseball history, how she sang the song at the Padres game and just butchered it.
So for those watching that will watch the Roseanne Barr is America documentary, what do you hope that they get out of it?
Well, you really, a lot of people know a little bit about Roseanne, a little bit about her upbringing, or a little bit about her comedy career, or a little bit about her experience in politics. So it really puts it all together. There's something for everybody. Most people don't really know she came from Salt Lake City, Utah. She's from a Jewish family, that she gave up a child for adoption at age 18, how she started in comedy in Denver. People don't know a lot about that. What she went through struggling. She goes through that in detail when her show was #1, struggling with the writers who wouldn't listen and wouldn't allow her to write her show the way she wanted. She had to fight for it. Her show, The Roseanne Show, was really an anti-television show. It was something for the people, because it was not like all the other shows on television that were fake families. It was a real family that did real things, and people could relate to it. You'll learn about Roseanne, how and why she got into politics, how and why she became a Trump supporter, how she fought being canceled. So it's such a great story. That's why I think the title is so appropriate. Roseanne Barr is America, because it's the greatest, I think, American story ever told.
And I think the greatest part of it is you'll learn how much she loved America and loves America, and there's a voice for the conservatives in this day.
Yeah, she's a great American patriot. She, talks about how all of her comedy was actually always political. And she saw how her family was an immigrant family and how they bought, an apartment building and eventually were able to be successful, and how she could come from an immigrant background and become the #1 entertainer in the country. So she's a big believer in the country, a great patriot. And everything she's done and said is to fight to preserve our constitutional republic against those people that want to undermine it. So there's very interesting messaging throughout the film. And Roseanne talks about how she's going to keep fighting for America.
Well, I encourage folks to go to your website, roseanneIsAmerica.com. They can find out where to get the movie and even watch it. And I just enjoy it. Thank you so much, Joel, for your time.
Okay, great to be here. Thanks so much.
All right. God bless.
Thank you.